Hi there, welcome to the latest edition of Netelixir's Employee Spotlight series. Today we're getting to know a little bit more about Hala, our Director of SEO. We've been lucky to have her for 2 years now. So Hala, to start off, could you share a fun fact with us?
Sure, I love traveling. I love experiencing new cultures, going to new places, and just, going into an Airbnb, staying with the locals and finding about the local cultures to really understand what's happening everywhere.
Are there any specific countries that are on your bucket list that you haven't visited?
Oh, definitely. I haven't done mainland Europe at all. So that's definitely on my bucket list. I want to go to Ireland again and Scotland. I've done Wales, parts of Wales, but those are countries I would love to just visit again because the culture they have and the people, they're awesome when they tell their stories.
Well, traveling definitely sounds exciting. So getting more into Netelixir, topic questions, what do you like about working at Netelixir?
So I love the flexibility I have here. The people are great, they're friendly. There's no hierarchical sort of authoritarian sort of culture. So it's great being able to make your own rules, and as long as you're giving the deliverables, everything works out.
Yeah, well, definitely an amicable culture that we have here at Netelixir. What is your favorite aspect of your job?
I love the way it changes so fast. I'm a huge, fan of researching everything. So the dynamics of my job are so consistently interchangeable, and they keep changing so fast that it's really unless and until you keep up with, the algorithm updates and all the new things coming into the digital industry, you'll just fall back. So that is really the best part of my job, that it keeps changing.
Well, it definitely keeps things very exciting. What are you completely fanatical about?
I love to read. So unless and until I read at night, I cannot fall asleep. It can be 2 in the night. It can be 12 in the night. And if I get a good book, I end up reading it the whole night. So the mornings don't always turn out to be good. But yeah, I have to read.
Do you have a specific genre that you love or really passionate about? Or do you read pretty much everything?
I read pretty much everything. You can hand me a biography. You can hand me a totally historical book. I'll read research on science or something that's coming out. I've even read young adult vampire fiction. Anything that catches my eye, I read.
And speaking of other favorites, what is your favorite game or puzzle? Or your favorite thing to solve?
I would say Scrabble. Scrabble's fun for me. Math totally stumps me. I cannot do anything dealing with numbers. It drives me nuts. But words fascinate me. So words are what I really stick to. And if I'm playing games or anything, it's mostly to do with words. I always failed at Monopoly.
Is it something that you picked up as a child or recent years? How long have you been playing Scrabble?
No, it's always been, since I was very young. Words really came easily to me, and I was a huge, I started in copy editing when I did my, in profession and all, did my mass communications. So words always came easy. So I started, I was always found at the library, even though I wasn't a big nerd, but I was always in the library. And, I would sit with the librarian, and if she was playing Scrabble, we'd just end up playing together.
Now, you mentioned that you started in copy editing. That's really interesting. How did you end up in SEO?
So while I was doing copy editing, I started in advertising, interning there, realized that's not where I could really succeed because I was not the most diplomatic of people. And it's a very, very hierarchical culture in advertising. You really have cutthroat. So I was not really cutthroat. So I ended up, working for a startup internet company. And while I was there, I was doing their copy editing, doing all that stuff. And as the digital world kept changing so fast, especially during that time, the trends were completely changing. And, Google came up, and then organic search was something that we looked at. At that point, it was all duplicate content. But when SEOs really started to become more sophisticated, when, duplicate content, was getting penalized, that became fascinating. You're like, how do you keep up? So I just, created my own affiliate websites, which was huge at that time, and tried to get that ranked. And that's how I fell into SEO.
Well, writing definitely seems like an absolutely crucial skill to successful SEO, especially when we're talking about voice search and how writing style has changed and, become more journalistic. So it's definitely interesting. Now, could you tell us why SEO is important in your opinion?
So SEO is basically free marketing, right? You might hire an agency and they're charging just an upfront fee. So you could end up making $1, ROI, or it could be like $20 ROI. So it really depends. So it's important for every aspect. Now with, SEO going more intent based and everything is becoming more personalized, it's imperative that you really understand your customer, the customer journey, how each channel mixes with each other, how it's impacting each other. So it's really essential to value SEO as a long-term strategy rather than a short-term win. I mean, you look at social, you look at PPC, it's all based on, per click, especially if you're doing paid SEO. Organic is different. But organic in any channel is really a long-term strategy. You're building your brand's reputation. And if you're not looking at your brand's reputation, you're really not going to last long. So SEO is important.
And now one thing a lot of people have kind of criticized SEO for it being something that takes a little more time and effort to see some results and see some success. How can you say or describe that SEO and paid services work together?
So as I said, SEO is really a long-term strategy. You can't have a short-term vision or just, manipulate different algorithm trends and say, hey, I'm going to do this month and I'm going to get X% increase in traffic and then I'm going to die forever. So you really need to create that long-term strategy. And again, marketing, if you're building your brand, it's not going to be built overnight. You have to create first the information funnel, then you have to create the awareness, and then you have to lead into it. Now, paid and SEO work together, and social at this point as well, and Amazon, if you take Amazon itself, for retailers. So each of those channels has an impact on the other. So first click attribution, last click attribution, data-driven attribution, all of those different marketing segments or just the attribution models work together. So if the paid team is working on a certain campaign and they have specific keywords list they're working on, you can have a synonymous list for organic as well. So while they're promoting specific campaigns, you're building the SEO base for that same campaign, so that within the next 3 months, you've got a better ranking in terms of SEO. So a lot of clicks that were attributed to PPC are now in SEO. So you're reducing your cost per value in PPC. And now you can start working on those generic keywords that are very high competition that might have a higher ROI as well. So it really works hand in hand.
Well, it definitely gives a clearer picture of how that happens. That about does it for this edition of the Employee Spotlight series. Thank you, Hala, for joining us. And thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check out our other spotlights to learn more about our team.